Hello everyone. I'm going to talk about relative clauses using who, whom, and whose. Okay, so first of all, why do we use relative clauses? So relative clauses give more information about a noun, just like person or an object, in the sentence. Let's take a look at these three example sentences. The boy who wins the gold medal is my new classmate. So in this case, so for this part, so this is what we call relative clause because it gives more information about the boy. And then the second example sentence here. That girl whom we met yesterday is really pretty. And in this sentence, for this part, whom we met yesterday is a relative clause because we give more information about that girl. And then the last sentence here. The old man whose son is a doctor is my new neighbor. So for this part, whose son is a doctor is the relative clause because it gives more information about the old man. Okay, now we have to get to know these three relative pronouns when we want to talk about people. The first one is who, the subject form, and then we have got whom, the object form, and the last one is whose. So this is about the possessive form. Okay, so I want to look at the first relative pronoun about people. So this is who. Okay, so please remember subject form and then I am going to tell you what it means. Okay, first of all, we have got two sentences here. So the first sentence, A, the boy is my new classmate. And then sentence B, the boy wins the gold medal. So we have got two sentences here. So how do we combine the two sentences together? Using a relative clause, okay? Because I want to give you some more information about the boy. Okay, so let's take a look at these steps. Step number 1. Okay, so we put down the boy is my new classmate here. Okay, so this is the sentence that we want to talk about. And then I want to give you some more information about the boy. So which boy are you talking about? So we go to step number 2. Okay, we go to step number 2. So we want to give some more information about the boy. So which boy are we talking about? I want to tell you that the boy wins the gold medal. Okay, so how do we insert this sentence into this one? Okay, into the boy is my new classmate. Okay, so we have to use the relative pronoun. So why do I say that? Who? And then we have got subject form. So what does it mean? It means that we have to look at this sentence. Okay, so the additional information here. So we have to look at this sentence. And where can you find the boy? Actually, you can find the boy here, right? And that's why it is in the subject's place. It is in the subject place. And that's why we have to use the relative pronoun who. So where to put who? Where to put this relative pronoun? So we have to put the relative pronoun right after the person that we are referring to, which means we have to put who here. Okay, and then you write the whole sentence here. Who wins the gold medal? Okay, so which means for this part, who wins the gold medal. So this is the additional information about the boy. So the whole sentence becomes something like this. The boy who wins the gold medal is my new classmate. Okay, so this is how we use the relative pronoun who. Okay, so what about the other two relative pronouns? And let's take a look at the second one. And the second one is whom, W-H-O-M, and we call it the object form. And what does it mean? Okay, let's look at this example. Again, we have two sentences here. Sentence A, that girl is really pretty. We met that girl yesterday. Okay, so what we want to talk about is that girl is really pretty. And that's why step number one. So we put down that girl is really pretty here. And then how do we insert this sentence? Given you some additional information about that girl, how do we insert this sentence, this additional information into that girl is really pretty? Okay, and then we go to step number two. Okay, so for step number two, look at this one. Look at the additional information here. So where can you find that girl in this sentence? Okay, so we can find that girl somewhere here. Okay, so is it in the subject place or object place? Okay, obviously the subject in this sentence is we, and then met is the main verb, and then for that girl, actually for that girl, so this is in the object's place. And that's why this time we are not using who, but whom here. Again, so where do we put whom? So just like what I have just told you, we have to put the relative pronoun right after the person that we are referring to, which means we have to put whom here. Okay, right after that girl. Okay, and again, so we write down the whole sentence here. Whom we met that girl yesterday. Okay, I'm going to put yesterday here. But this is not complete. Okay, so when we know that, we have to use whom, so there is one more step that you have to take. That is, okay, look at this one. For the whom here, actually, we use whom and then we are already referring to that girl, which means we don't have to write that girl again in the relative clause. So we have to take one more step and then we have to cross out that girl whenever we use whom in the relative clause. Okay? So for this part, so this is the relative clause. So the whole thing becomes that girl whom we met yesterday is really pretty. Okay, so this is the relative clause whom we met yesterday. And then we have already mentioned, okay, so that girl here, and that's why we don't have to write that girl here anymore. So please pay attention to this point. Okay? Okay, so this is the second relative pronoun when we want to talk about people. Okay, so what about the third one? Do you remember the third one? Here is the third one. Whose. W-H-O-S-E. Whose. Don't misspell this word. Okay, so for whose, actually, we are here. So we are talking about possessive form. Okay, possessive form. I've made a typing mistake here, I'm sorry. Okay, possessive form, which means, what does it mean by possessive? Actually, it means your thing, the belongings. Okay, so your belongings. Okay, again, we have got two sentences here. Okay, so the old man, sentence A, the old man is my new neighbor. The old man is my new neighbor. And then we have got the second sentence. The old man's son is a doctor. So I want to tell you the old man is my new neighbor, but I don't know like which old man are you talking about, and that's why you have to give some more information. So step number 1 again, I guess you should be very familiar with these steps, okay? After taking a look at like who and whom and here. So step number 1, the old man is my new neighbor. Okay, no problem. And then we have to give some more information, and that's why we look at this one. Okay, again, I'm sorry, boys and girls. We have got possessive here. Okay, so the old man's son is a doctor. So actually, I want to give you some more information of the old man. And that's why the old man's son. Okay, look at this one, the whole thing. The old man apostrophe S. So whenever we see apostrophe S, actually, I am talking about someone's belongings, someone's things, okay? Okay, so just like he has got a car, and that's what we say his car, or like the man apostrophe S car, okay? Apostrophe S here. And that's why if you see apostrophe S, which means you are talking about someone's belongings, we are not using who, we are not using whom, but we have to use this one, whose. So where to put whose? Again, we have to put the relative pronoun right after the person that we are referring to, which means here, after the word man, okay, after the old man, we have to put whose here, okay, and then we copy the whole sentence. I mean, we copy the remaining part of the original sentence. Whose son is a doctor, okay, and that's why, again, so for this part, whose son is a doctor. So this is the relative clause, and we are using the relative pronoun whose, okay, to replace the old man apostrophe S, okay? And then it means the old man whose son is a doctor is my new neighbor. Full stop. Okay? And again for this one, so this is possessive form. Is that okay? Okay. And now I want to introduce you to another concept, okay, which is called defining and non-defining relative clauses. What do they mean? Okay, so first of all, I want to ask you one question. So can you spot the main difference between the following two sentences? The first one is, of course, the spellings of the words are different. Okay, so I'm using different words here. Okay, but then what is the main difference between the two? So the first one, the man who wrote this song is Japanese. And then the second one, Mary. And then we have got comma, who lent me her phone, and then we have got comma, is very nice. So can't you spot that? Okay, do you notice that in sentence B, we have got two commas? Okay, so we have got two commas here. Okay, so please get to know the names of these two sentences. The first one is what we call defining relative clause. And the second one is non-defining relative clause. So what do they mean? So they are new concepts to you, right? They are new words to you. So let's get to know what they mean. So first of all, defining relative clauses. What do we mean by defining relative clauses? Okay, so for defining relative clauses, it means we have to give essential information about someone. Okay, because in this video, so we are focusing on people. Okay, we're focusing on people. So the information that we need in order to understand who is being referred to. Okay, which means if you don't give that piece of information, I just don't know who you are talking about. So just like this one. If you are just telling me the man is Japanese, but I don't know which man you are talking about, or you are talking about the man who wrote this song. And that's why here, for this relative clause, so this is something that must be included. So for this piece of information, you have to include this piece of information. We need to know this piece of information in order to understand like which man, okay, we are talking about. Okay? And that's why no commas. There is no comma here. Okay? Because for this piece of information, this is something which is very important and necessary. Okay? Important and necessary, essential here. So what about non-defined relative clauses? So for non-defined relative clauses, so which is the opposite? Okay, so which is just opposite, the opposite of like defined relative clauses. So we are just giving you some extra information, and that is not necessary. Okay, we don't need it to understand who is being referred to. So just like this one, when you see Mary here, so Mary is very nice. So everyone knows Mary is very nice. Actually, you don't have to give extra, you don't have to give any more information about Mary. So we all know who Mary is. Okay? But then maybe you just want to like give more information about Mary. And that's why for this piece of information, it's not necessary. It's not that necessary because we already know who Mary is. Okay? Unlike the previous example that I just talked about, I just don't know who the man is, and that's why you must give me, okay, some more information about the man so that I know which man you are talking about. But then this time, Mary, we all know who Mary is, and that's why there is no need for you to give this piece of information, okay, to understand who Mary is. And that's why if we are including a non-defined relative clause, we have to use comma. Okay, we have to use comma, and then we put the comma. Okay, we put the comma here. Okay, and then inside. Okay, I'm using the word inside. So inside the two commas is the relative clause. And that's why don't put the commas anywhere that you like. Okay, which means like to put it simple. Actually, so even though you don't give me this piece of information, I still know who Mary is. Okay, and that's what we call non-defined relative clauses. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about today.